If I press harder. Oh yes, it's working. All right. And women at Bergen, you see, quickly realized the need for women-oriented programs. Already in 1973, the Women's Institute was created by Harriet Lefkowitz and Connie Lee. It offered courses for women who wanted to step out of the home and into the world of work. At the same time, a women's center was created to welcome women into a safe space, often away from domestic violence. We have since lost it, but we're working on re-establishing it with our women students foremost in our minds. The project Return, and we proceed with Jean Goldstein. You see her picture on the right, that's Jean. Involves much needed woman-oriented counseling. It was still a time when medicine considered women to be just smaller men. Women's Studies program since 1975 was created by Datha Bragg, Marilyn Adelson and Tirsa Schulzengo. Now it is coordinated by Dr. Christine Eubank. Women's Advisory Committee since 2021, created and chaired by Dr. Pamela Haji, is a new women's organization with a mission to advocate on behalf of women. Pam? And so we stand on the shoulders of the hardworking women before us, and today it is my pleasure to introduce the current co-chairs of the 2022 Women's History Month Committee, Dr. Caroline Kelly in the audience, and Dr. Christine Eubank to make remarks.
Thank you, Maria, very much for that history of our history. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. On behalf of my co-chair, Caroline Kelly, and the entire Women's History Month 2022 committee, I'm so pleased to welcome you to our opening day celebrating women's history. This afternoon, we are delighted and honored to have with us several distinguished guests to inaugurate this month's programming. We have Dr. Eric Friedman, President of Bergen Community College, Bergen County Commissioner Mary Amoroso, Bergen County Chairwoman Commissioner Tracy Zur, and Bergen County Chief Executive James Tedesco. I'm going to keep my comments very brief. That was them, and right now, without further ado, I will turn it over to Dr. Eric Friedman.
Thank you so much. Ooh. It's so nice to be here with people, live. Oh, it feels so good. In this wonderful, I was just remarking on the brand new carpet in this wonderful space that's so student-centered and comfortable. Good afternoon and welcome everyone, and welcome and thank you for being here to County Executive Tedesco, Commissioners Amoroso and Zur. All the faculty, staff, and students that will be participating today as well as in future events. I'd like to recognize Women's History Month chairs Dr. Christine Eubank and Dr. Caroline Kelly. They have collaborated with many departments inside the college and outside to make this happen and to develop Bergen's recognition events so wonderfully. This year's theme of Women's History Month, The Body, uses the concept of the female form to focus on such critical issues as reproductive rights, domestic violence, and self-worth during lectures, panels, and other events. These programs provide our entire community with the opportunity to think about the specific challenges that women encounter from the time they are very young. I have not experienced glass ceilings, gender stereotyping, and sexual harassment the way that many women endure these. This month's events will help all of us understand these things better, understand the challenges that some might take for granted, and change is due. As president and with the board's full support, I've made enhancing the college's diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts one of my first priorities, and it's reflected in my presidential goals. I've launched the President's Advisory Council on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, which features dozens of faculty, staff, and student volunteers who remain committed to ensuring that Bergen embraces its wide range of multicultural backgrounds and human experiences. 4 of our recent promotions in college staff and administration highlight our commitment to ensuring that women are increasingly at the leadership table. Deborah Manning was promoted to Dean of Adjunct Services. Jennifer Reyes was promoted to Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs. Tonya McCoy was promoted to Interim Dean for Assessment and Accreditation. And Chinzia Diorio was promoted to Interim Executive Director of Continuing Ed and Workforce Development. I'm really proud of all of them, and I look forward to working with all of them at the leadership table. So please use the events of this month to remind yourself of the contributions of women, to value their perspectives, and to become more aware of gender and sex stereotypes. Thank you again, and welcome to our Women's History Month celebration. I am now honored to introduce the Chair of the Bergen County Board of Commissioners, Tracy Zur.
Thank you so much, Dr. Friedman. I'm so excited to be here with you all as we begin the celebration of Women's History Month. You know, the word history is his story, and I think for so many of us, we have seen the male perspective throughout our history wind its way. And so many of her stories, of our stories, have not been part of that conversation. And so I am, while this should be every month, Women's History Month, because it is all of our histories every single day that are building this country, that are making our communities stronger, I am so grateful for this opportunity to be here and celebrating this and celebrating our voices. There was a commercial when I was a kid for Virginia Slim cigarettes of all things that said, "We've come a long way, baby." And we have. We in Bergen County have one of the few boards of commissioners, one of the few county governments that is run by a majority of women. But that is not the case all over the place. Our legislature is still only about a third. Congress, the same. Senate, we haven't had a woman senator from the state of New Jersey ever. So we have a long way to still go. But by highlighting our stories, by highlighting the role that we continue to play in the development of our communities and country, we live it and we show it and we model it so that you all can continue to build it, so that you can continue to stand on the shoulders that have come before you. So I want to thank you, Dr. Friedman, and the entire committee for putting forward really exciting programs all month that are going to focus this conversation. We look forward to being part of as many of them as we possibly can. I have a commendation on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, congratulating the committee for putting this forward to today. But I really want to say thank you to all of you for being part of making sure that equality is the conversation, making sure that we are continuing to push the envelope, that we are continuing to make sure that all of us, whatever our perspectives, our orientations, our sexual identities, whatever our race and religion, we all have a seat at the table, and we all have a role in making our community stronger. So thank you all so much, and happy Women's History Month.
It's my great honor and pleasure now to introduce our County Executive, James Tedesco.
Thank you, Dr. Friedman, and good afternoon, everyone. And I'm honored to be here today on behalf of the people of Bergen County to thank the folks here at Bergen Community College, one of the shining jewels in the crown of Bergen County. While we have a number of jewels that make up that crown, Bergen Community shines bright and sparkles. And it's because of the work that's done by all of you, by the commitment that you have to making sure that we all are equal, that no one is better than one another, no one is less than one another. Everybody is equal. And so Women's History Month, and Commissioner Zur said it so well, it's no different than Black History Month. We recognize it as a month but we shouldn't be recognizing it only during that month. It should be every month, every day. Because that's the only way that things change. So yes, we should take a period of time to make a special recognition, but we shouldn't have to only do it on that month. It should be done every month. So I'm honored and glad to be here today to be able to read a proclamation on behalf of Women's History Month. But before I do that, I just have a few remarks. The 2022 Women's History Month theme, providing healing and promoting hope, is both a tribute to the ceaseless work of caregivers and frontline workers during this ongoing pandemic, and also a recognition of the many ways that women of all cultures and backgrounds have provided both healing and hope. Women have had a significant impact on the establishment of our country and have greatly contributed to every effort to make these United States more equal, more fair, and more inclusive. It's no secret that women were not and are not given the recognition they deserve for the role that they have played individually and collectively in shaping our country's history. And that's why moments like this with you are so important. Why celebrating Women's History Month is so vital, because it is crucial that we recognize the paramount role women have played throughout our history and our lives, and that we recognize them for the work and their accomplishments. I just want to share a short story with you. My mother, who passed away on Memorial Day now 8 years ago, her first husband was shot down over Europe as a pilot. After that, the women of those servicemen got together and formed a group called the Gold Star Wives. Now, many of you don't know about the Gold Star Wives, but it is an organization that was formed back in 1945. My mother was a founding member of that organization and was its third president. And at 90 years old, in Florida, she formed the first Gold Star Wives group in Tampa, Florida. And how fitting her last breath was on Memorial Day watching TV, and she was blind with macular degeneration, but she could hear. And she took her last breath as a bugler was playing taps on the TV for Memorial Day. But a woman's, a mother, a wife's forethought and understanding what it meant to help other women and have women come together as only they could understand the struggles that they went through as their husbands were killed in war, helped form that group. And why do I say that? Because each and every one of you have an opportunity to do something. Each and every one of you have an opportunity to think about something and making a difference in the lives of people. You're here getting a great foundation, a great education. And I know many of you will become the great leaders of this country in years to come. Many of you will become great scientists, doctors, elected officials, professors, and yes, women who make up 53% of the population will be instrumental in making this country and continuing to make this country the great country it is. So it's now my honor to take this moment to read a proclamation commemorating Women's History Month in 2022. Who am I going to present this to? Christine, if you would come forward. Proclamation. In recognition of Women's History Month 2022, whereas Women's History Month is an annual celebration of women's contributions to society and the history that has been observed during the month of March in the United States since 1987, and whereas Women's History Month includes the growth of women's rights, achievements over time, the examination of individual and groups of women of historical significance, and the effort that historical events have had on women, and whereas each month the National Women's History Alliance establishes a theme to highlight these achievements and to provide resources and materials for education and celebration of women being honored throughout our nation, and whereas in 2022, the 2022 theme is Women Providing Healing, Promoting Hope, which according to the NWHA serves as both a tribute to the ceaseless work of caregivers and the frontline workers during this ongoing pandemic, and also a recognition of the thousands of ways that women of all cultures have provided both healing and hope throughout history. And whereas this year in particular, we're reminded of the critical importance of women doctors, nurses, researchers, and caregivers who have led the way in laboratories, health agencies, hospitals, clinics, and homes, using their skills to find cures, help ease suffering, and speed recovery whenever possible. And whereas it is because of the tireless efforts of women throughout our county and our history that hope remains constant, as women continue to move in new directions in public health by seeking innovative and progressive solutions, and as they continue to provide dignified and compassionate care as they have since ancient times. And whereas to commemorate Women's History Month, as it does every year, Bergen Community College will host a variety of workshops and speakers that will highlight the impact of women and their success throughout history, as well as continue to offer a robust curriculum that reinforces our commitment to women and girls throughout our country. And whereas, on behalf of the nearly 1 million residents of Bergen County, I join in celebrating Women's World History Month and recognizing the extraordinary women who have forever changed history and the innumerable contributions, as well as by building a country of endless possibilities for all women and girls. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, James J. Tedesco III, Executive of the County of Bergen and State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim March 2022 as Women's History Month.
Shift to your right. Okay, look here first and then we'll get to the other side. Okay, go.
I am truly delighted to first introduce the 2020 awardees, whom the pandemic prevented from receiving their awards on time. Belatedly, but with no less appreciation or delight, I'd like to introduce Dr. Anne Maganzini. Dr. Maganzini has been a professor of psychology at Bergen since 1973, and she has been a pillar in our community. She told me she thought it would be a temporary position here at Bergen until she finished her PhD at Fordham. But it turned out to be a good gig, so she stayed on and only recently retired after 47 years.
Wow.
We consider ourselves lucky that you have stayed on and enriched our lives so. Dr. Magazzini has been a creator of programs, including the Women's Studies program, and co-founder of the Academic Advising Center in '99, and a member of many college committees. A dedicated and much admired teacher, Dr. Magazzini has mentored many students for conferences, including the New Jersey Project, and has had a record number of finalists at the Beacon Conference. She has taught Psychology of Women, a cornerstone in the Women's Studies program, including honor sections every year. She received the NISOT Award for Teaching Excellence. And you have always been a colleague to depend on. Your extensive knowledge, true compassion, reliable support of women-centered initiatives, and the extracurricular feats, such as a marathon in each state, have inspired me and all of us. We thank you for your contributions and congratulations. Please come to receive your award.
So, the Women's History Month Committee was always one of my favorite committee activities, and particularly because I think, as in the classroom, I learned as much from what the programs were in Women's History Month, and in my classroom I learned as much from my students, I hope, as they learned in my classes. So it's also, I think, worth recognizing that even though this was supposed to be for 2020, now that we're in 2022, this is the 50th anniversary of the passage of Title IX, which did not occur until I had already graduated from college. But the changes that occur in a lifetime and moving forward, I can tell you, because when I was in high school, and despite my height, playing basketball, but it was not a varsity sport. In my co-ed high school, the only achievement a girl could have in sports was a letter for being a cheerleader. But Title IX changed many, many things. And so I will do a little bragging here. I have two daughters who one played Division I soccer, and the other daughter is the one with the marathons. I've been to all 50 states, but most of the time I've been going to accompany her. And so she is currently also the CEO of the New York Roadrunners. And so she was in charge of their marathon last November, which after the pandemic, they had reduced to only 25,000 people, but next year, and she will still be in charge of the marathon next November, they're back up to over 50,000 runners. And she did win the Bay State Marathon in Lowell, Massachusetts in early fall with a time of 2 hours, 52 minutes, 23 seconds. Yeah, so, but she's the one. Maria, by the way, is a marathoner. So, you know. And I have participated in 1 marathon and 5 half marathons for Team in Training, which is an organization that I am proudly a member of, raising money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So I truly appreciate this recognition, and the program that really started it all in 1973 was Returning Women, and I did have some wonderful classes that were scheduled at times where women would be available, if their kids were in school or after school and evening, and it really was a great start to a lot of educational successes. So I wish you all the best. I hope that as students especially, you have a continued thirst for knowledge and love for learning, and you go many places. Thanks.
Dr. Jacqueline Benn has an appointment she couldn't reschedule today, and she is with us only in spirit. Dr. Benn has been committed to women's, if you have taken sociology classes, you know of Dr. Benn. She's been committed to women's issues her entire life. A sociology professor at Bergen for 28 years, she's also a licensed social worker, former director of Bergen County Rape Crisis Center, former clinical crisis services coordinator at Shelter Our Sisters, and more. She has lectured widely on sexual assault and domestic violence, including workshops for us here at Bergen. She has taught Changing Roles, a women course in the Women's Studies program, recently with Professor Laurie Talarico. Dr. Ben co-created the college's first LGBTQ cultures course, which has since been recognized as the first such community college course in the nation. Jackie, if you're watching us, your passion for teaching the subjects you care about is an inspiration. Thank you for caring so much. Robin Harvison, who knows Robin Harvison? She has been a staple. Hello Robin, are you there? How are you? I know she is for sure watching us remotely, she couldn't come. A former academic vice president, secretary, and the Women's History Month founding member, Mrs. Harvison has always been well liked by everyone. As if by magic, she was on top of our requests with admirable ease. She participated in creating and delivering an amazing month-long program for the college and community to enjoy every year for many years. We are especially grateful for her creation of the Book and Brunch series. The faculty, staff and students have read and discussed short stories, poems and excerpts from novels by notable women authors. As an artist herself, she created beautiful March display windows, including historical timelines, works of art, and information celebrating and inspiring women. Robin wrote to me, "I'm extremely grateful to the many women in my life who have inspired and empowered me to develop a more intense thirst for knowledge, compassion, and understanding. To be remembered for the work that I am extremely passionate about means so much to me." Robin, we are extremely grateful for knowing you and working with you. Thank you very much. In attendance, Professor Lisa Meyer. Professor Lisa Meyer earned a bachelor's degree in political science at the George Washington University and a JD from Seton Hall. She entered private practice specializing in juvenile, criminal, civil and municipal litigation and worked as a career counselor for young adults before the time when, in 1993, she was invited to Bergen by Dean Moskowitz for an interview about a teaching position in the legal studies department. She went to her interview 5 months pregnant, wearing an oversized coat, fearing she would not be considered otherwise, and was hired. Good disguise. But you're a legend. Even better, conveniently, as she puts it, her daughter was born during spring break, so she didn't have to miss a class. That's womanhood at work, yes. She serves in multiple capacities at the college. Faculty advisor for PTK, the Legal Studies Club, the Hillel, and member of the Women's History Month Committee, Pride Advisory Board, the Women's Advisory Committee, and now also the President's Advisory Committee on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusivity. She continues to practice law part-time. Lisa, thank you for wearing that large coat that day. If for some reason you hadn't been hired, we would be so much poorer for it. But you are always here, willing to listen, sharing knowledge, and inspiring all of us with your keen sense of what is right and knowledge of how to do things right. We thank you. Please come to receive your award.
Yeah, no. Thank you so much. This is very, very meaningful. This is a really special place. I'm very honored to be among very influential people here. I do want to thank Dr. Friedman for all of his hard work in bringing this all together. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the women and children and men in Ukraine right now fighting. And so it's tough for all of us, but we're together here and we're doing what we can. So thank you so much for this. It's a tremendous honor, very meaningful.
Dr. Lou Ethel Rolliston. Dr. Rolliston has a doctoral degree in English from Indiana University of Pennsylvania and 2 master's degrees, one in literature from Rutgers and one in communications from NYU. At Bergen since 2003, Dr. Rolliston has taught an array of literature courses, including women in literature, whereas her research interests are in African American literature, Black women's studies, and women's studies, among others. Currently, she is chair of Department of English, and she coordinates the college's first campus-wide read, Between the World and Me. She was also one of the co-coordinators of the Literary Arts series, remember those days? Co-chair of the Equity Council for Student Success, co-chair of Black History Month Committee, and is a member of the core team for the Women's History Month Committee, Women's Advisory Committee, and the President's Advisory Committee on Diversity, Equity and Inclusion. What an impressive list of important engagements. In brief, Dr. Rolliston inspires with her energy, creativity, and unwavering commitment to women's issues across the board. Even when she's busy and can't attend a Women's History Month meeting, she tells us, just tell me what you'd like me to do. And then she delivers. Lou Ethel, it's so rewarding to be working with you, and we are very happy and proud to be able to recognize you today. Thank you and congratulations. Please come to receive your award.
Thank you so much. I just am so honored to be among this group of illustrious women at the college and these beautiful students, many of whom I know. I don't know what to say. I am so humbled. It's always a blessing and a pleasure and an honor to be recognized by your peers and your colleagues. And so I am forever grateful and thank you.
Next on our list is Dr. Anne-Marie Rossello. You see her. She has a Master's of Science degree in Library Science from Rutgers and an ED from National American University. She's a professor in the Sydney Silverman Library and the Information Literacy co-facilitator who partners with students, faculty and staff to navigate today's complex information environment. Anne-Marie believes that how people seek, process and share information is of vital importance to interacting with one another. Currently, she focuses on the filtering aspects of the decision-making process employed by community college leadership teams. And we appreciate her effective and kind ways of creating consensus even in difficult situations. Her leadership skills help us pave the way, especially in new teams that need to find a common ground. Anne-Marie has chaired the Faculty Development Committee and supported women's initiatives there, and has served with true passion on the Women's History Month Committee and the new Women's Advisory Committee. I very much enjoyed the programs you have led at the Women's History Month luncheons, and I was not alone. We greatly appreciate you and your dedicated work on behalf of women at Bergen. Thank you and congratulations. Is acceptable. I can shake hands. Please say something.
Thank you so much. I absolutely love working at Bergen. I've been here since 2001. I come by my love of women's history naturally. My mom was one of 2 women to graduate with a chemistry degree from Indiana University. And when she graduated in 1966, too, in the entire major. But my real mentor was when I was an undergrad and I showed up at Rochester Institute of Technology. There were 5 men for every woman. And I had a professor take me under her wing, and Dr. White said, Amory, I was made somebody's secretary because they couldn't make me a vice president. I was the highest paid secretary for Hilton Corporation because I could not be the vice president. And that professor pushed me every single day, and I remember Mrs. White and what she told me. So I love being at Bergen, and I love all the women that I work with, and the men too. But, and I thank you for this award.
This year we are also awarding several students for their excellent work and their leadership, so I am even more excited now as I am about to introduce them. Christina Feinroth. Christina, please come forward. As a senator in the Student Government Association, she was tasked with creating ways to reach out to students during the pandemic, which included Instagram Live and other uses of social media outlets. This year, as the SGA president, she's worked with the administration of COVID-19 policies. Her role is to bridge the gap between the administration and the students. Currently, the biggest project she has taken on is her goal to instill the SGA theme, which is getting students to care about other students. Given the current state of the world, she believes that working together for progress and peace are most relevant. Christina is an English major, an excellent student, and an impressive leader. Thank you for your work on behalf of others, and congratulations.
So I just want to say thank you so much. I wasn't actually expecting this. It was a real surprise to be honored. But my mom is here today. And I really want to say thank you because my mom has been my biggest inspiration. She's a leader, even though I don't think she realizes it. She cares about people more than I think anyone could ever care about somebody, and she is amazing. So this is for you. Thank you.
Hannah Rose Garcia, PTK President. Hannah Rose is an honors student who is on track to graduate with an associate's in general liberal arts. After obtaining an associate's degree from Bergen, she plans on heading to a 4-year school to obtain a master's in social work and hopes to work with underserved communities. Hannah has held the position of Phi Theta Kappa President, Director of Communications, for Diva Girls, as well as a volunteer for the Violence Intervention Prevention Center. We're very impressed by your work. Please come forward to receive your award.
I just want to say thank you so much to all the wonderful women and faculty, friends, family who have pushed and encouraged me to accomplish great things. Thank you.
Next on the list, Teresa Petrazulo. She is a political science major and currently serves as the co-president of the Honors Association at the School of Honors. And she is Director of Finance in PTK. She has worked on the PTK Honors in Action project with the marginalized community, and she has planned and advertised fundraisers for the organization. As president of the Honors Association, she has co-organized the Bergen Salons and such fundraising efforts as book sales to provide cash prizes for the Honors Association essay contests. Her dream is to go to law school and become an immigration attorney. What an impressive set of interests, skills and accomplishments. We wish you much success with your studies and your future career. Thank you and congratulations.
I just want to thank all the advisors, amazing women who have helped, Lisa Mayer, who helped me get into the programs. And I want to thank my mom for all that she has done, pushing me to achieve all the greatness that I have and am capable of. So thank you for all the advisors and everyone.
Last, but certainly not least, Taylor Lee White. She is only a second semester freshman at Bergen, but she has already distinguished herself. Her major is biology, which, as she says, is due to a deep passion that she has for all things related to biological sciences. Taylor Lee hopes to study towards a career as a general nurse practitioner. She is also a proud member of the Student Government Association Senate, as well as chair of the Diversity Committee. She is a passionate advocate for proper representation, inclusion, equality and diversity of all cultures and ethnicities represented here. She educates fellow students through diversity workshops and events in order to create an even more inclusive environment for all. We remain impressed by your dedication to our college environment, and we too want to work toward diversity, equity and inclusion. Many thanks for your work up to date, and we are very much looking forward to more. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you everyone for this award. It is just an amazing experience, and I honestly never even seen myself being awarded for something like this, and it's truly honorable and grateful to be honored and just to be recognized. And I just want to thank all of my supervisors, peers, advisors, and the many women that I've met, just like Dr. Allison here. I've met amazing women, amazing men, just everyone. I want to thank all of you for just allowing me to be here and just make this campus just a better place for everyone. Thank you.
Congratulations to all honorees. We're so proud of you, and we're proud to be a part of your life, much as you are part of our lives. This concludes our award ceremony. On behalf of the Women's History Month Committee, again, congratulations. Thank you to our guests for coming. Bravo and well done. And let's take a picture. Please, the awardees, if you could climb on the stage, we'll have, everything has to be photographed, or else it never happened.
Yeah, so let's just come up on the platform here. Students let's see how many we can fit across, and then we'll figure it out from there.
Careful so you don't.
So come forward. Yeah, we'll get them too. Don't worry. Lou, Emery, and Lisa, come down off the platform. Okay, and then come forward to the group in the back. Taylor Lee, come on forward. Beautiful. Okay, and then look at me.